for in continue to the GRC, that is governance risk compliance paper, and we already completed for the unit one with the basic introductions and coping principles and the basal committees and what is the pillars of pillar one, pillar two, pillar three, thing and all. And this is the guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear
Yes,
you.
sir. Yeah,
The screen is also visible to all, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. So in order to continue to that, and I'm going to taking care for the third unit, third and fourth unit by today's sessions, and third unit is for the governance with respect to the information security. That is what we are going to see for today. And in these topics, and we are going to see for the effective information security governance and how we are going to effectively implementing for the information security in the terms of governance thing, and what is the important of information security, and what are the outcomes if we are implementing those uh, governance in terms of information security, and what is the outcome of that, and what is the um, strategies, that is various kind of um, that is understanding the effective information security governance thing, and so these are the things we are going to see. In order to that, strategic alignment and value management, risk management thing, performance management, information system strategy, and the steering committee. That is the main committee in terms of information security, and those committee will be carrying for the chief level of officers in the organization. And then they have some procedures, policies, and strategies plan also in order to make the information security in terms of governance manner. So that is what we are going to see for in this unit 3. And this is the a pictorial diagram and for the information security governance, and it is for um, that is information security infrastructure, which is comes to that which is involved for the information security governance thing, and they have the information security personnel and the information security management. So everything comes for related to the security level of thing in terms of infrastructure management thing and personal level of thing, and those three things will be covering for that cyber security protections, and how the products and system will be providing the secure manner, also for the services also, and how the information security will collaborating with the business partners. So these are the overview and pictorial in terms of information security governance thing, and these are the it's a diagram to explain and what are the things which is involved in the information security governance, and how the governance will be classified in terms of IT governance, information technology, IT security, and what is information security. So we have three kind of things. That is, one is governance, and one is for information security, and the another one is for information technology. According to those three things, and how the thing will be involved in terms of governance thing. That is what we are representing here, and so the base level of the information security governance is it's nothing but it is for it is an integral and transparent one, and it is for responsibility of the board of directors and senior executives who in this ISG one, and it must be enterprise governance, and it should be aligned with the IT governance framework. So whenever the companies will be implementing those governance things, and they are implementing the information security level of governance, so probably the top level of the people and the directors and board members will be in the member of the team, and they will looking to align with the IT governance framework and what they have defined in terms of the corporate and basal thing, and ITL process. So we have so many things, and based on that, they will implement for all these things, and they are the senior executives. They are the responsibility to consider and respond to the concerns and sensitivities raised by the information security. So whenever the company raising any concern in terms of security thing, and the board member and the senior executive will be responsible for taking care for all the activities, and they are the part of that governance, and they will integrate with the process when they are already have in the place to the govern other critical organization resources. So here the ISG framework content and which is for and this is for accurate one and accurate security framework that meets the objective of the organization. If you are implementing the ISG framework, and it should be in that it should be in the accurate security framework one in order to achieve the objective of the organization, and the candidates are tested on the broad requirement for effective ISG. And if it is required to develop a framework with accompanying the plan of action of implementing it, and it is required to understand the contents of the framework, which will be generally consist of a comprehensive security strategy that is linked with the business objectives. So in this, when we are creating the framework, we have to make those things in terms of the ISG process. And next one is for the governance security policies that address each aspects of strategy, control, and regulations. And if you are making any effective manner by making that organization structure, and we have to avoid of conflicts of the interest, and with the sufficient authority and adequate resources we have to keep in organization, and we have to maintain the standard policies to ensure the procedures and guidelines to comply with the policies. So these are the base level of the framework content when you are in terms of ISD process. And next one is for what does it need to include? If you are making any framework, and what does it need to include, which means, and we have to align with the information security strategy of the organization. So the framework should be aligned with that information security strategy in the organization level, and the management of risk. So if any risk factor is there, and that should be eliminated one, and it should be handled by the management in terms of the risk perspective. And it is very efficient and effective management thing, and making the framework content. And if you are getting the result, there should be a verification based on the result should be in terms of that ISG framework content. And so it is needed in these are the things needed one. So we are including the ISG framework, and the important thing is, and it's provide a framework of secure business operation in an interconnected world. So if you are running that organization, and if you are aligning the framework, and it's main important, it should be interconnected to the world. So you should be uh, provide the business operation, and ensure the country's security resources, as well as the spend which they have in that ISG process. And the next one is for effective information security governance. And so we discussed for the ISG, and how the governance will be working in terms of information security, and how those things will be effective if you are making those governance in terms of information security, and how effectively we have to implement it. That is what we are going to see now. And it's for so common to successful organization will be implemented in terms of effective information security governance. And it is for the organization that they have to regularly review the business and the security process with the goal of the continuous improvement. And for security products, if you have any security uh, products, that should be managed by the services, and the consultant who are in the third party side, and they have to purchase and deployed in terms of information manner, and then they have to regularly review for that one. And obviously the board members to understand that information security, which is critical to the company perspective, and it's required for the regular updates on the performance and security incident. And they have to identify it if it is required, and they have to implement it for those kind of things in terms of security incident. And the officers and the business units managers they will participate in the risk management committee, that they meet the regularity on the topic of the information security. So if you're building for that information security governance, the effective way that the thing is for handling it, and the management team, the executive management will set up the risk level, and what is the risk level, which is the minimum, what is the maximum level, and how the things will be happening it, and what is the basis of the company security policies which is related to the practices. So what kind of practices you are enabling in your organization, which is related to the information security governance or not. So everything will be carried out in terms of making the effective way of the governance in the information security side. And the critical business process which should be documented along with the risk that are inherent with the different steps within the business process. So if your any critical business has happened, you should be taking make it as a document one, and because it will be helpful in the future purpose, and it is should be inherited by the terms of the risk, how to we are going to reduce those risks in the terms of information security by making the effective ways. And the next one is for that execution management, the whole the business units managers, they are responsible for carrying for risk management activities for the specific business units. So for all the teams not carrying for all the activities, so some of the team will be carrying for the risk activities. So they will be handling for those kind of activities, and that kind of business unit will be taken care for that responsible, but by making that effective information security governance. So these are the way we are considering the information security governance, the best way to making the effective information security governance if you are following for those kind of things. Okay. The next one is for importance of information security governance, and we are implemented for that information security governance in the organization. And what is the important for that? That is what we are going to see for this slides, and it is for it is have many benefits. These are the benefits which we described here, and that is few of them here is which is for increase the share value of the organization that practice the good governance. So if you are making the good governance, and probably your share value will be increased in terms of market level, and it is for increase the predictability and reduce the uncertainty of the business operations. So if you're making the right effective way of information security governance, and the people who are working within the third party level or in the organization within the company or the client level, they they won't they will increase the business, but the uncertainty of the business operation, and by lowering the information security related risk to define the acceptable level. So if the risk level is reduced, so company will provide the more projects to you, and if you are doing the great job in terms of security governance thing, and the next one is for the protection from the increasing the potential for civil or legal liabilities as a result of information inaccuracy or the absence of due care. So if you are making the protection and increasing the potential for the civil and legal liabilities, and the result outcome, which which could not be affected for the information inaccuracy thing, and there might be a absence of the due care. And the next one is for the structure and the framework to optimize the allocation of the limited security resources. Guys, can you please mute? And guys, can you please mute yourself? And
வள்ளி ஓடுது இல்ல இல்ல இதை பார்த்தா வள்ளி ஓடுது போல இது பயந்து வள்ளி பிடிக்க வந்துருக்காங்க புரியுதா
guys, please mute yourself. Okay. And next important thing is for assurance of effective information security policy and policy compliances. And the next one is for the level of assurances that is a critical decision are not based on the faulty information. So whenever you're taking the decision in terms of critical manner, and it is not based on the faulty information, and you have the right information with you, and you're providing the right decision and taking the right decision at the time of critical assurance thing, and accountability of the safeguarding information during the critical business activities such as mergers and acquisitions, business process recovery, and regulatory responses. Those kind of things will be safeguarding the accountability, which is will be in importance in terms of information security governance. So if you are making the effective way of information security governance and the importance we have it and what is the outcome, if you are making those effective way of information security governance, and we will get some outcomes, right? So that is the thing we are going to see, and these outcomes will be based on that some of the they have some security programs, that is management level of security programs that will outcomes the that will provide the outcome of the information security governance, and those, and it's mainly involved in the development and implementations and the management of the security program that achieves the 6 outcomes that sorry, candidate will be tested on, and it is an effective information security. If you are making the effective information security, and it will be protect the organization most critical and important assets. So we have a 6 outcome, and 6 outcome will be classified in here. And one is for strategic alignment, and another one is for risk management and value delivery, resource management, performance measurement, and integration. So these are the 6 outcomes. If you are effectively implementing that information security in effective way. So I will explain one by one. And first one is for the strategic alignment, and it is for information security, which will support for the organizational objectivities, and it will develop a common and comprehensive set of IT security policies. They have some strategies, right? And so based on the strategies, they have to align it in order to communicate the IT strategies and policies and control framework. And IT enforce the IT security policies, and establishing a clarity of a business impact, and to objective of the resources, and establishing the IT continuity plan that supports the business continuity plan. So these are the strategies they are handling for in terms of outcome we are getting it with the strategic alignment. And the next one is for the risk management. And the risk management, it's for it is nothing but it's for the risk what we have get it, and they will reduce the potential risk, the potential impact of the information assets, and it should be an acceptable level only. We have to manage it. So this kind of things will be handled by the risk management thing, and the risk management will be carried for the establish and reduce the likelihood and impact of the IT systems and the terms of risk manner, and it should permit the access to the critical and sensitive data only to the authorized users. So authorized users only, they can able to access it, and other than that they no one to able to access for those kind of things. And in order to terms of risk, so if anyone has those kind of data, that may be chances to taking care of breaching and incident will be happen, and that is not a right information security governance in the organization level. And then the risk management perspective, we have to identify and monitor and report the security vulnerabilities, and if it is any incident happen. So if any incident happen in terms of a monitoring side, or in the reporting side, or in the identifying the report, identifying the incident, so we have to taken care for those security vulnerabilities, and the develop a IT continuity plan that can be executed or tested and maintained. So these are the thing in terms of the risk management. And the next one is for value delivery. Value delivery is it is for optimized to organizational objectivities, and it is carrying for security activities, and which is for optimal investment level of occurs when the strategic goals and security are achieved, and acceptable risk management in place for the organization level. And these are the things will be uh, covered by the value delivery, and they ensure the automated business transaction and the information exchange can be trusted, and minimize the portability of the IT service interruption, and establish the cost-effective action plans for critical IT tasks in terms of the value delivery. Okay? And the next one is for the resource management. Resource management is nothing but it's purely for the infrastructure thing, and then how their infrastructure will be handled by the effectively, and then effective manner by the persons in the organization, and the resources will be in the infrastructure level and not for the persons of the here resources mean by infrastructure only. And the main thing is for to maintain the integrity of the process as well as for the infrastructure, and the account and protect of the all the IT assets, and it should be in terms of secure one, and you have to ensure for the proper user and performance of the application and technology solution. So if you are using the performance and application, and uh, that should be a technical technology solution in order to make the infrastructure by in terms of resource management. And the next one is for performance management. And performance management is nothing but it should be on monitoring and measuring and reporting of the information security process, which will ensure their organizational objectives and if it is achieved one. And the thing is for the performance measurement and based on the incidents which damaging the reputation with that public, and how many numbers of the incident have happened with damaging with the reputation with the public, and how many numbers of systems where the security requirements are not met, and number of type of suspected and the actual access violations, and the type of security incidents which are in terms of numbers. So the performance will be carried by terms of numbers only. So how many security incidents happen, how many malicious code will be prevented, how many access privileges happened, how many breaches will be happen in terms of performance issues, and the number of access rights authorized and the revoked, the reset, changed. So these kind of activities will comes under for the performance management thing. And the final one is for the integration, and the integration will be it's in for assurance factor that are integrated to make the process to operate that end-to-end process, and they have the using the resources for integration, and they have tested on the integration and coordinate for the various assurance and function, and they should ensure the complete security and formal relationships between the assurance function and that responsibility between the um, roles and responsibility of the assurance function. So these kind of six outcomes, best outcome in terms of if you are implementing in the information security governance. So that will be here strategic alignment and risk management, and how the risk management will be handled it, and the key goal of the information security to reduce the adverse impact of the organization to an acceptable level of risk, and resource management. So the account for and protect for all the IT assets and ensure the proper use and performance of the application technologies. So that is what I'm described one by one in the with the six outcomes. So that is in the slides here: performance measurement and value delivery. So and then the final one is for integration. So this is what to the in terms of information security governance, and how the effective ways we are implementing, and what is the important of that, and what is the outcome of the information security. And this is what information security governance, guys. And do you have any concern in this chapter? I'm going to next chapter for the next time. We're going to another chapter. Still, do you have any concern? Okay, all right. And this is for information security strategy, and the previous one is for information security governance. And when we are getting the outcomes, the strategy alignment, and we are implementing those strategies in the information systems, and it is for the planning and prescribed by King 1978, the process that refers to the relate the organization missions, objectives, and strategies, and other salient characteristics of the information system strategy set. So what does information strategy set? And there will be an organization missions, objectives, and strategies, and other salient features, that is characteristics of the information system that they are set in the terms of strategy. and they have the strategy set. The product of the strategic planning process is for IS and information system, and that is for derived from the organization strategy set and through the application of the strategic planning method or to the IS function. So in order to from the strategy set, they have that strategy planning in terms of information system, and that is applicable to the strategy planning method. So the main intent to the from IS strategy planning is to twofold. That is, one is for to to ensure that informational resources when applied with the directly strategies, and I will show the diagram so they can able to understand it. And the strategies contribute towards the attainment to the enacted organization strategy is the first one, and the second one is for to ensure that income of information resources is seen during the organizational strategies planning as a competitive tool, such as IS strategy planning files with the information resources realm of the IM planning. So the thing is for when you're doing for the planning process in the information security, and we have for the organizational mission, objectivity, strategies, attributes on one side, and IS information security. That is, we have split it for two things. One is for in terms of organization level, another one is for IS object information security of thing. And we are making the plan that is for strategic planning in order to achieve those organization mission, objectivity, strategy attributes. We are implementing or planning the IS objectivities, IS constraint, and IS vision strategies. And if we are giving the input to that organization strategy planning to achieve the um, um, information system in order to planning the process uh, in terms of information system to achieve the organizational mission, objective, strategies, and attributes. So this is what we are mentioning, and okay. Uh, Next one is for planning process of information system. So that is what they have two strategies factors we are mentioning. The strategy planning is the alignment of the IT management, operation, and the enterprise strategies planning. And they need to be moved beyond the IT management, and to ensure for that IT planning process is integrated with the enterprise strategy planning, followed to the two strategic factor, that is for mission necessity and the enterprise maturity. And these are the planning process of the information system. Which we are in terms of information system side. And with many factors, we have it. That is for exploiting IT to maximize the effectiveness, and organization must engage the strategic planning to ensure the investments in the IT produce the business values, and the assessment of the risk is aligned with the enterprise goal and objectives. And this is necessary to support for the overall enterprise mission if you are making those planning activities. And the planning phase completed, then we have various phases of the strategic planning, and that is the planning, decision making, and measuring thing. And we have some phases in terms of the strategic planning, and the phases are 2 to 5 years of business, that is for vision and mission level of technology and outcome, and strategic deep dive, and current state assessment. So what is the current state of the assessment which currently in our organization maintaining the strategic planning, and how we will be elaborating, how will be extended to the other set of things, and in terms of vision level of things, and imperative roadmaps and finances and governance process and decision making, and then final one is for regular review. So these are the phases which are in the strategic planning. That is for 6 phases, and that is what we are mentioning here. And the planning phase will consist for 2 to 5 years of um, 2 to 5 years of business out, and the strategy deep dive to key on the key trends and the current state assessment, and this is what a strategic imperative and strategies and budget for the new year. So these are the things comes under for the planning of the strategic planning phase. And in this for strategic imperative strategies business for budget for the new years, and it will be comes for the strategic directional statement, and based on this statement will be the company will give for the next level of thing. And here the decision making will come to the place for the strategic plan thing, and they will do for the roadmap review. So if you are making any decision making based on the reports and what the roadmap of the organization, and if, for example, if your people are doing if your people are doing in work culture and they are giving the appraisal based on the roadmap which we have, uh, how the performance will be happen, how the performance will be calculated, so everything will be the roadmap reviews thing. So at the time they will take the decision making. Similarly, they are the strategic planning and they are the phases, and the planning phase will be carried for the four kind of things, and the decision making thing they will check for all the roadmap reviews in terms of organizational growth and business perspective for all the things and the governance decisions. So the team will be taking for the decision how the strategic planning is working on the organization, how it will be making the next level of the strategic planning, and then charter programs. So will be in the terms of decision making, and finally the measurement. So what is the outcome, the indicator reviews and organizational health survey and the IT performance report. So these are the phases of the strategic planning, and this will be in the explain for the next slides, and that is what we have here. That is a 2 to 5 years business and technology outcome, and a strategic deep dive. The team identified a small number of high impact areas that they require more in-depth analysis of information to the overall strategic planning process, and it is depending on the circumstance and given point to the time, and they are included for IoT, social media trends, and changing regulatory compliance rules. Everything will be in the strategic deep dive, and the current state assessment will be carried out for the current system and the policies and compass them with the long range outlook, and the paying special attention to the key driven development in the proceeding phases. As a result, the recommendation for the adjustment of the IT to focus on the area and spending plans will be in the current state of assessment. And imperative roadmap, that is the planning stage. It's a planning stage, and it will be in the plan that reflects for the IT highest priority items and how to provide the outcome framework to finding the success, and the roadmap which will be carry for the influence of the budget and the organization decision in terms of upcoming years, and the governance process and decision making, and the decision making phase, and the governance, how the process will be implemented, and if the governance will be in effective way or not, and what is the outcome we will be getting in terms of they will taking the decision on the governance side. And once the annual budget is approved, the information from the proceeding phases is used to guide the governance process and the many decisions made across the organization to implement the strategic plan and 1 year strategic objective. So when you are they are upping the budget in every year, and they will make the clear picture of that. What is the process? How many resources, and how we are going to handle it, and what is the procedure policies will be taken decision making in terms of executive board members. So which will be including for the project charting and the supply selection and sourcing investment trade-off decision and so on in the phase of decision making. And the regular reviews. So obviously, if you are making any process in the terms of policy or principles or procedures or process, and you have to review it. Review is the main thing. In if you are creating any kind of thing in the planning phase or the resulting phase, you have to review it. So monthly review based on the wide variety of the input, which help for the ensure the strategic plan and the governance decision are for uh, culminating year-end assessment, and it's continue into the following year until a new strategic plan and the new governance decision provides input for modifying the review process. So until they provide the next direction, and you have to maintain and you have to follow for the current process in terms of strategic planning. So that's all about for phases of strategic planning. And the next ones we are going to see for importance of strategic planning information system. Uh, we have discussed the previous ones, the information security governance, and we have seen for the effective way and the importance way and what is the outcome. Similarly, we have the information system, that is we have the strategic plan, and how the strategic plans are working and what are the phases we have it, and what is the importance of the strategic plan that we are going to see now, and it should provide for the connection between the demand of organization and latest information technology. So what currently the demanded of the organization and what is the latest information technology will be in the market, and it provides the connection between to them. And this status helps an organization to get a hold of the market by utilizing information technology to meet that continuous variation in the corporate environment with a challenge requirement. And the critical aspects of the organization for its growth and expansion will be the importance of the strategic information system, and the integration of the data system and its function within the organization can be handled easily. So these are the importance in terms of strategic information system, and we have the uh, two types of information system strategies. One is for operational, that is for operation systems of support system, and the another one is for management support system. And operation support system is nothing but, and it is for it is a firm that is data execution is performed by the end users, that is user end, and that is for strategies, that is for the useful data, products, and the services like reports, which are utilized by the different users, such as for strategy is called for operation support. And the primary purpose of the system is to keep a check on transaction operations and control chain supply and management. So these are the thing will be carried out for the operation support system, and the management support system will be handled for the essential divide. Essentially, they are divided into that different strategies like management and decision, accounting, and expert information system. So this system will be facilitated for the provider precise information and the data to the managers to easy routine the decision making process. We did for the management support system that will be explained here, that the operations support system, which is for data execution, is performed by the user end, and which is later the process to generate useful data products and services like reports replacing. So it's kind of operation level of thing, and based on that data which is given by the team which were carrying for the information system strategies plan, and based on the reports they are taking the decision making, and such kind of things will call it as operation support thing, and the managemental thing will be in the second factor. And in terms of operation support thing, and we have the there are three systems here. One is for transaction processing system, and the process control system, and enterprise collaboration system. That is what I mentioned here. And what is the transaction processing system? So if any services, and if you're in the payment related company, and any transaction process system, and the way they access it and how they is accessing it, so everything will be captured in the transaction process system. And the process control system, how the system will be controlled by the way of process and will be in terms of information system strategy. And the next one is for the enterprise collaboration system, that the system will be collaborated with the enterprise functionality in the organization with that vendor level of thing and service level of things. And the primary purpose of the system is to keep and check for transaction operation control. That is what we are. That is what we have the TCPS and PCS and ECS. This also facilitate the internal external talks and update that. And the next one is for management support system. Management support system. It is for the it is like for the management level of thing, and to support the system in order to that taking the strategies like management level of thing, and taking the decision making and accountability and expert information systems, and they will do for the strategy to enable the effective decision and task operation process more to the manageable for the managers. And they have a specific format to understand the decisions of the organization in order to accurate data. All those things will be comes under for the management support system. And okay, So that's all about the management support system in terms of information system strategies. And the next one is for users of strategic information system. So what is the uses if you are using for information system strategies in an organization? And it is for which is helpful for us and the creating the hurdles of the entry of a competitor and in terms of strategic information system and they have that improving the marketing by the generating databases. So if you are improving your marketing strategies and if you are from the databases you are getting for all the information that will be useful in terms of strategic information system and and the locking customers and supplies and it is an essential way to getting the advantage of the compatibility in terms of that is to getting the advantage of the competition by making the customers and the supplies permanent way in order to locking the customers and suppliers and in this information strategy they are implement to provide for benefits to the customers. So that is what the locking customers and supplies and the improving the marketing by generating database is nothing but it is for this gives for the firms and organization and edge over to the competition. So for all the strategies will be covering to in terms of the competition way and the generating the stronger databases and the enhance the sales marketing faculties and they have to handle the tactics in terms of sales and marketing and the trends of existing information which is useful for the resource and instances and business form that will be in, improving by if you are using for the strategic information system. So logging customer supplies that is what I mentioned become it is hard for them to switch over to other competitors. So they are continue to provide the services and if you are giving the satisfaction to the customer with the right strategy information system and lowering the cost of the product. So if you're giving any services and the way of the organization, pinpoint the particular activities in the business level and when the competitive market strategies can be applied and where the strategies information system can be more effective. So um, we are giving the lower cost of the products if you're giving any services into the organization or if you're getting any services by third party supply we are expected to provide the lower cost of the product with the strategy information system with, for all the plans and phases which you have they in the secure manner and this is for base level of the users in terms of strategy information systems guys and well, so next one is for leveraging technology in the value chain, and this is an organization pinpoint the particular activities and the business where the competitive market strategies can be applied, and where the strategic information system can be more effective. So they are leveraging the technologies in the value chain. What is we have it and what is the strategy in the current system? How the system could be more effective? We are going to improving to in order to achieve for the strategy information system to gain the businesses and increase the revenues in terms of numbers and how effectively we provide the low cost of the products. So these are the uses of the strategy information system. Okay, that's all for that information strategic system. Any question, guys, that we have covered for this one is for the information system strategies and what is the process of the planning phase and what are the phases which we have it and the importance of the strategy information system and the importance will be classified the two types. One is for operation support and another is for management support system and what is the use of the strategic information system. So this is what we have it in that chapter and the next one is I'm going for the steering committee and this is an important committee and which will be helpful for to understand the process and which will be helpful for in the design perspectives also and are the main topic in this paper: steering committee policies and procedures. Before I'm going to that, do you have any concern? Okay, next concern. Okay. Okay, guys, we'll move on the next session, next topic for the steering committee, and it is for a top level of the people will be interested in this committee, and uh, they will be top management people, and in this in this topic, which will be to know that the challenges of the how to establish the steering committee, and what is the various steps of the when we are creating the steering committee, and what is the operation rules. You must know what is the operation rules in the steering committee will be taken care, and what is the best practices of developing the steering committee, and we have to understand it, the various roles and responsibilities, and what is the policies and procedures in order to make the steering committees. And okay, um, that is information security, which will affect for all the aspects of the organization. And if any information securities will be breached, and that will be affect for all the aspects of the organization. And to ensure that all the stakeholders are affected by the security consideration, and we are involved in the steering committee of the executive, should be formed. So the main thing is formed for to in order to take the decision making, and in order to provide the security consideration and terms of security, information security. They have they have created for the steering committee in the executive level of board, and the member of such committees will be included amongst the others. That is a chief executive officer, CEO, and a designing business unit executive, chief financial officers, and chief information officers. That is ICAO or IT director, chief security officers, and CASO, human resources, legal and risk management, audit operations, and publications. So these are the people will be involved in the steering committee, and those committee will be taking for all the action in terms of. So yeah. So the steering committee, which serves for the effective communication channel for the management aims and directions, and provide the ongoing basics for the ensuring alignment of the security programs with the organization objective. So the main objective of the committee is for with the secure program with the organization objective, with the ongoing basics of the ensuring alignment with the communication channel for the management aims and directions with the effective way. This is what steering committee, and it's also instrumental in the achieving the behavior change and towards a culture that promotes a good security practices and policy compliance. And the steering committee, if you are making the steering committee, we have some challenges in order to establishing the steering committee. That is, we are going to see for the next upcoming slides. And the steering committee are the important one in the project management process, and which is uh, which is for challenging the potential pitfalls, and where the leaders need to be aware of that. And the senior leadership may take a more active decision making role over those are mid level of managers. This can be created and conflict the competitive interest, and the challenges will be handled the way of handling the different personalities and interest, and increase in the meetings. So we have a few things, and so those kind of thing will be the main challenging ways to establish the steering committee, which is one is for handling difference in personalities and interests, and it is crucial for the leaders to have a various level of managers and executives to on the steering committee. and increase the meeting. So naturally, the steering committee will want to meet, then decide for our project budget, scope, challenges, changes, any other topic that could arise. They have to increase the meeting size and the threats of bargaining. So again, the many of the members of the steering committee could only be concerned about their interest only and define roles, and that might be in not in everyone's first time to steering committee. So many will probably know the basics of how it's work. So we could not able to, the company organization will be in the steering committee. They already have the knowledge of the process, and it is not a new person will to directly involved in those kind of things. And the higher probability of the group think. So often there is an either one person or small group of people who decide to take the lead in the group setting. So the probability of the group thinking will be the similar one. That should be a higher one in terms of that group setting. So these are the challenges to establish a steering committee. And next one is for essential step for creating a effective steering committee. So what are the essential step when you are creating that steering committee? What are the essential steps that we are going to see now? And the essential step will be in terms of picking the right people. And if you are making that steering committee, you have to pick the right people. And once you pick the right people, and then you have to uh, provide the information them of the inform the, that is, you have to inform the about the projects. So what is the project and what is the steering committee going to do, and how the steering committee and each person need to understand the plan descriptions, purpose, and the current scope of the steering committee. And the members should be receive information before the initial meeting, so they can craft any questions they have before in terms of project related thing after you're picking the right people. So the other major factors, organizational representation, the first individual personality, and the likelihood that they are successful working in the teams. So the essential way, and first one is to pick the right people, and second one is for inform them of the project, and third one is for set clear rules and goals. So leaders need to give a steering committee members the tool to perform their duties by setting standards and clear goals. And they have the budget. Does the budget need to stay within the specific parameters? And how many deadlines or scope challenges will be allowed? And is there any limit of any idea that implemented? So all the things will be clearly stated in the terms of rules and the goals into that. And the next one is for schedule follow-up meeting as necessary. So if you are creating that any kind of team, not only for the steering committee, any kind of committee, and you must follow for the follow-up meetings as a necessary when it's required, and it is essential one for to schedule for follow-up meetings, and by the way of weekly or daily or monthly or quarterly, whatever things based on the committee members they have decided. So the frequent meeting can be decrease the efficiency and the effectiveness. And therefore the leaders need to only schedule a meeting when there is something appropriate to discuss, such as a budget or scope of thing. And if changes are not frequent, and leaders may want to schedule a benchmark meeting throughout the development of the project as needed. It is a crucial that every session has a defined purpose. So benchmark, do you all know what is mean by benchmark? Any ideas of benchmarking?
Comparing.
Sorry?
Comparison. That is exactly benchmark.
Comparative.
Yeah, no. Comparing. Benchmark. Something.
That is comparing.
If you know CIS benchmark is very famous, right? So they keep on giving what are the security controls should be continue. So they keep on releasing new versions, right? Like that way.
Yes. Yeah,
A reference point. Basically, it is a reference point.
Yes. So benchmarking is a reference point. In order to achieve, they have to set the goals in the organization, and the roadmap will be carried by the way of benchmarking. They are that is a mission level of thing in order to achieve further visions, and they for all the organization will be set on the benchmarking meeting throughout the project's things. So what is the thing which we have? What is the budget level? What is the cost of the project? What are the resources? So these are the benchmarking, and they will get the references from the other projects, and those kind of things will be setting of the meeting, and they will follow for the schedules as it is necessary of things, and they make communication and debriefing the priority. So this is the last essential step for creating that effective steering committee, and this can be happen through the developing a mechanism for the committee members to communicate with each others and the project managers, and the leaders can create a plan for team to meet with the steering committee to answer questions and update them to the progress and where we are and what we need to update and what is the progress of the committee and what is the progress of the project, how the project will be going to handle it. So for all the communication and the debriefing of the priority things will be uh, uh, carried out in this session by the way of making the communication. And after the completion of the project, and leaders should debrief the committee members to gain insight into the process and any problem that occurred. So once everything will be done, and the committee member will be gain the insight into the process and any problem that occurred, and they will be debriefed to the committee members in terms of the essential steps to carry for the creating for that effective steering committee team. And we have some other personal concerns with that information security governance for here, and that is what we have here. That board members to understand what the information is information security, and it's critical to the company, and the request regular update on the performance and other security incidents. So the board members should understand the thing, what is the security incident and what kind of security incident and how the request for regular updates, everything they have to concern it. The officers and the business managers to participate in the risk assessment and the risk management committee that meets for the regularity to topic on the topic of the information security, and the executive management sets an acceptable risk level which are the basic for the company security policies and related practices, and the critical business processes are documented. So whenever we are in the for all organization, the critical incident must documented along with that risk values, and they have to inherit the different steps with the business process that we have seen in that information security governance, how we have to essentially make those information security governance, and what is the important thing and how, what is the outcome which we have discussed in the initial level of session, and that the execution management should hold for business unit managers responsible for the carrying out the risk management activities, everything and all. And the best practices in order to develop for the steering committee that we have given it, and so the best practices in terms of we have to make the steering committee with the effective and efficient way, and that they are the committee to guide for all the projecting to get the success. So the best practices thing, and provide the training and coaching. So that the steering committee, there are some members that they are new to the serving on the steering committee, and leaders can help easy them to into their duties by providing the training and coaching. Um, so when we are creating the steering committee, the people in the committee, they are already aware of that. Sometimes they are from other organization to move on those committee, or they are getting the shares from other things. Then they have to provide the training and coaching about the steering committee thing, everything and all. And the committee members as a productivity as their experience will allow. So it is essential that leaders offer an adequate education for the committee members, new and experienced one. And the keep manageable size leaders should make it as a priority to not make the steering committee team too small or big. So that is what the keep manageable size, and always provide agenda information beforehand. So 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 once the change management framework suggested that the leaders keep in size around 6 and the size large enough to represent a lot of organization department, but not too big to encroach on that efficiency. So that is what you are providing for. Always provide the agenda information beforehand. So if the meeting will go faster and operate in higher level of efficiency, agenda is concerning the project information, and they have the steering committee before they arrive. So they will allow them to craft the initial questions they before the meeting save the time. So if we, not only for the steering committee thing, it's a general thing. If you are have any meeting and you have to beforehand, you have to provide the agenda. So based on things, they will get some clarity. If they have any question in that agenda, they will make some draft. They will take the craft draft on the meeting session, and they will raise a question at the time of meeting. And it will encourage for the fast decision making, and it makes for the members to take time to make informed decision. However, when a group is involved, a decision that should take 24 hours could end up with taking a week if they are not established parameters for how long decision making should take. So they are encouraging to take the fast decision making with respect to the 24 hours of time, and we make some have some increase in those hours, but it should be in the terms of country before 24 hours. And the way of they are involved in this project, how they are involved in the steering committee, they easily can able to adopt those kind of things, and they will take the decision making in the fast ways. And the leader should express that purpose is not about the rushing decisions, but facilitating efficiency, so the teams are not left to push back deadlines. So the way of they are taking the decision, and it's not the rushing decision way, and they are to taking the decision which will be facilitated for the efficiency way, and they are not to push back the deadline. So for all the steering, not only steering committee, all the meetings, if we are giving the commitment and you have to make the commitment, you have to stand by those commitment and don't push back the deadlines given by them or you suggest that you do. And have a listen between the project managers and committee, and it's a great idea to have the project managers so liaison with between the project managers and the steering committee, and it will cut down the confusion of all the questions, concerns, and decisions communicated to the project managers, so they can display the information uniformly. So which will help them to understand the project managers and committee, and they will explain it what is experiencing and what they are expecting from the committee side, and committee will explain what they are expecting from the project manager, and what is the expectations of the project level, how the project will be happening. So it will be in terms of uniformly, and they will dispense for the information uniformly, that will be for the in terms of best practices. And the next one is for operation rules for the steering committee. And these are three kind of things. Operation rules in the steering committee. One is for role of the steering committee and the membership and structure. And the third one is for rights and responsibilities. So the role of the steering committee is nothing but the steering committee is governing the body of the correlation network. The major goal of the steering committee is facilitating the fulfillment of the correlation and the network mission by the developing the supporting policies and strategies and operational implementation of the network thing will be in the role of the steering committee. And the membership and structure, and it is for chairperson, that the two network coordinator and 6 representatives, which including for at least one committee representative. In terms of membership, the structure should be which we are in that chairperson and then two network coordinator and 6 representative, which we including at least one committee representative is a structure for the steering committee, and the total number of steering committee members representing the specific thematic focus and the communities is defined by them. Rights and responsibilities, and the steering committee members work voluntarily without financial compensation for their work with the steering committee side, and the members receive all available information related to the network operation on the demand, and the steering committee members receive an annual correlation and network progress report provided by the CNO. Next one is for policies and procedures. So in order to make those steering committee, and what is the policies and procedures they are following it, and the policies is a set of principles, and that is what we call as a policy, and they are defined and what we'll have to do and why it is we have to do everything will be in terms of that. And they are translating the values into the way of operate and achieve the compliance with the responsibilities and legal obligations, and help to achieve the council plan and other strategies document, and help manage the risk. So this is the main principle behind the policies and procedures. And the policies either in the council or the organizational. The council policies are related to our customers and the community, and the include planning policies. And the council policies will influence and guide the what services are provided, and consequently how council is perceived by our community. And organizational policies related to the internal business of the council around the matters such as the corporate services governance. So it is either by the policies which we are derived from a company, or else by the council. That is a council which we will, the third party say they are the organization. Based on that, they are making the steering committee things. So the organization policy will have the direct effect on our staff, but will not have a specific relevance to our customers. Along with the legislation and the local laws and charters and delegations and the terms of references and policies provide the controls that council operates within. So it's either the based on the council of the organization, or is the policies been driven by the organizational based on the principles they are doing for the steering committee things. And the next one is for roles in terms of the steering committee, and we have the roles, and in these roles I have the policy coordinator and policy owner and policy author and the policy reviewer group. First one is for policy coordinator, and they are ensuring the process of the developing and approving, reviewing, and presenting a policy, managing the effective way of organization. And they are the coordinator will be in the developing and approving, reviewing the all the policies and the effective way of the organization. And the role is undertaken by the executives and the commercial service officers, and who is administrative of the policy register for the policy coordinator level. Next one is for policy owner, and who are the accountable for the particular area of the policy owner. And this will be ensured for the policies they are accountable for, kept with the date, renewal on time, and reviewed at the on time, and communicated effectively. For all the organization, we have that some policies. In these policies, we have we could see for that names like policy coordinator and policy owner, and they have the policy author and the policy review group. And who's going to review for the policy? They are the review group, and who's getting the policy? He's an author of the policy, and the one of the policy will be. They are the particular areas for HR level of thing, and the system security level of thing will be carried. HR level thing will be carried by the HR team, and the system security level will be carried by the system administration team and network team. So they are the policy owner with respect to the thing, and this is what they are mentioning here. And policy author, the policy owner may assign the responsibility of writing or reviewing a policy to a policy author in the team. So the policy owner still have accountability for the policy and must ensure it meets the objectivity. And the review group will be review for all the policies which were creating by the author, and the owner will be assigning for those author not to take the policies, and the coordinator will be effectively managing for and managing, approving, reviewing, and the policy, everything and all. And the review group will be consist of manager, executive, and the commercial services, and 3 members of the London leaders group, who are appointed annually on the rotating basis. And the role of the group is to check for all the policies and procedures to ensure that they are checked, complete, and ready for the finalization prior to them being submitted to the MEG for approval. So these are the roles in the steering committee thing. and the policy review. The final thing is for policy review thing and the policy review, and they have some procedures for that also. Unit. Policy review is nothing but the policy owner will determine the regular review frequency in accordance with the guidelines. So they have the main role for the policy one is to review for all the policies which we have created by the policy actor, and the owner will be submit to the policy reviewer group with respect to for policy and everything on that. However, the reviewer may be triggered at any time if necessary due to events such as changes in the legislation, council plan, and stakeholder issues for all the activities. If any need to change, and the review group will be addressed at any time. The policy control coordinator will enter a policy's review date and policy owner on the policy and the procedure register, and the remainder will send 6 months in the advance for each policy review. Every 6 months, a report will be provided by the policy coordinator to the MEG on the status of the review dates and the completion. All policies must be reviewed at least once every 4 years to ensure they are consistent with the council plan. And the procedures for the policy review, and it is for prescribed specific actions that need to be taken to implement a policy or other requirements such as the legal obligations. They set out the how and when and who in order to do that for procedures, and it's provide the clear instruction on the way that the policy will be implemented and ensure the uniformity and the compliance across the organization, allow for monitoring and policy implementation. So these are the procedures in terms of steering committee activities and policy review thing. That's all about steering committee, guys, and it the steering committee and how the steering committee facing the challenges, and what is the essential steps for creating the steering committee, and what are the best practices which you have in the steering committee, which we have discussed it, and the policy and procedures, and what are the roles we have in terms of making that steering committee thing, and how the policy review will be happening, and what are the procedures we have it. So everything we have seen it, and any questions, guys? And that's all about third unit. Any questions? So we'll give you another 10 minutes. We'll discuss for any questions, any clarifications. Then we'll give a short break, and later we can connect with fourth unit. Do you have any questions? Please open up your mouth, and 3:30 we'll wait for another 7 minutes, and for any question clarification after 3:30, and we'll have the 15 minutes break, and then we can join it, and we'll discuss for the fourth unit. If you don't have any questions, then we will come back at 3:45.
No questions, sir.
Okay, then fine, guys. We'll connect with the 3:45. We'll mute myself. We'll get short break now, and we'll join 3:45. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Hi guys, sorry for the delay. It's a long. Shall we start the session? Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Okay. For unit 4, and we are going to see for that is for information security management practices, and what are the practices which we are in terms of information security, and we could see for the management and financial management, quality management, and these are the information security management practices. In order to for that, and information security management performance optimizations and the roles and responsibilities, and auditing IT governance structures and evaluation criteria and benchmarking assessment tools and case study analysis. We have it, and the next one is for the risk management, and this is the main thing in terms of security management, and this topic for the risk. So how the risk management process will be happening, and how we are going to developing a risk management program, and how the risk management analysis method will be happening, and what are the types of risk management in terms of analysis, that is qualitative and semi-quantitative, quantitative, and what are the frameworks we have in terms of risk management and COSO, and the internal environment, objective settings, event identification, risk assessment, risk responses, and how the control activities is happening in risk responses, and the information communication, monitoring, NIST, risk assessment, risk mitigation, evaluation, assessment, and the case studies. So it's for kind of thing like just security management level of thing in terms of uh, in the corporate level, and what are the management activities they are working in terms of information security, and how the risk factors handling here, that we are going to see now, and it's like for various forms of management, and risk management process, and risk mitigations, and risk development activities, and so these are the things, and it's not a vague one, it is for easily understandable one for all the persons by the way of this thing. The first one is for the personal management, and you all know that what is mean by personal management in terms of organization, and it is also defined as for the field of management, which is field for concern with the planning, organizing, directing, with the controlling various operative functions in order to procurement and development and maintenance utilization of the labor forces. So that is we call as a personal management, and in order to object of the company, those who are personal level of personal at all levels, and those community are achieved, and they increase the technical development of them and all the team members, and the train technical and non-technical person and complaints requirement, and assorted other management tasks and responsibilities. And personal management, it's a vital part of the running a successful IT department. As a manager, I will be take the task for the hiring, providing support, and training for junior team members, and getting them into the speed of the complaints of requirement and best practices in order to the personal management. And also focus on the administrative specialization that deals with the process of hiring, developing the employee to become a more valuable to the company. And sometimes it's considered for the subcategory of the human resources that only focus on the administration. And these are the personal management thing, that is for hiring, employee handbook, and promotion policies, training, scheduling, and time reporting, and employee performance evaluations, required vacations, and termination policies. Everything else comes under the personal management thing. And you people are know that for employee reference program and internal movement thing. So if you are working in any company, and the company will be send a mail to the all the employees regarding that the company is having the opening, and if you people can refer that people who refer and people hired for that referral people, and you will get the paid amount with the reference bonus and the internal movement, and internally people will be moving to one project to another project, or one service line to another service line, or one business unit to another business unit, by the way of hiring the personal management activities. and the recruitment process, and it will be identify the particular candidate in order to fulfill the position, and the planning for the requirement, and the sourcing, advertising, and assess the interview candidate, and the selection of the offer employment, onboarding success. So they need to identify where the people we need for in terms of project thing, and they have to make the planning of the requirement thing, and they have to sourcing and advertise the way of referral program or posting and in the websites, and they are accessing for the interview candidates by the screening for all the candidates and selecting for the particular candidate in order to make the progress for the future purpose. And so one successful candidate will be onboarded in the companies. So this will be handled by the management consultant. That is for they have a consultant team that will be carrying for the recruitment process. If the company want to give the service to the third party vendor, they will carry for those kind of activities. They call as a management consultant. And hiring after an hiring process that we all know that, and how the people will be hiring the core HR, the department HR, and the hiring managers. So they will verify for all the activities, and they will inform the hiring manager, request a background check, everything and all in the department HR level. And the hiring manager will select the candidate and conduct the reference check and make the offer and candidate accept. So these are the things for in the terms of offers and the hiring process, and which comes sort of for the personal management, and the organization can perform for the information security functions in-house or outsource or function across the globe. And the sourcing strategy should consider for each IS function to determine which approach allows for IS function to meet the organization goals. And outsourcing practices and strategies, that is nothing but any functionalities, any process, any business to provide to the company, to the vendor side, that is also that is we are giving to them. And outsourcing, we are getting the in terms of client level, we are getting that projects like that is a contractual agreement under the which organization hand over the control part of it and all of the function of the IS department to external parties. So it's based on the handover to the control of the part to the particular concern, and becoming the increasingly important in many organizations. Then IS auditor must be aware of the various forms of outsourcing, and then we can take as well as for the associated risk, that is for outsourcing practices. Most of the companies are doing for all the activities in outsourcing, and some of the companies will be taking that for the premises for the practices for terms of information security thing. And next one is for financial management practices, and financial management in terms of so business seeks to plan and direct the use of the company financial resources, that is cashes, that is generated through its operation, and the capital obtainment from investors and the lenders. Although the company may have the accounting staff on or outside of the accounting firm or to provide the financial guidelines, and financial management is one of the most important aspect of the business owner's job. And so to run the business and for all the activities, the financial is the main thing, and they will having it. And so in order to secure for those in financial side thing, and you have to for information security and financial management security issues in the financial accounting, and it's a complex one, and the risks are often difficult to stipulate even for experts also. And the financial management practices by the two ways, that is a user pay scheme, and the another one is for IS budget. And user pay is a chargeback one, that is an that is information security budget level of thing in terms of financial management practices. And the importance of financial management will carry out for the provides the guidelines in the financial planning and assistant to acquiring the funds from the different sources, and helps for investing appropriate amount of funds and increase organized efficiency, and reduces delay production, cut down the financial cost, and reduces cost of fund, ensure the proper use of fund, control the financial aspects of the business, provide information through the business reporting, and make the employee aware of the saving funds. So everything will be handled by the financial management, and this is the importance by the way of handling the financial management team. And the pictorial diagram will define further the significant features of the financial management towards the startup business, and the keeping all the payments that are payable and receivable in the transparent manner, and to amortize the prepaid expenses, and coordinating statement of income, expense, and balance sheet, and depreciation of the assets according to the valid schedules. So this will be handled by the financial management team. And it's very important when you are doing the startup company, and you have to make sure for everything in place for achieving that financial growth in terms of financial management. And the proper financial management improves the transparency and the speed lines of the payable and receivable management. So that is what I explained here in the diagram. And the measure management helps you to determine the value of the asset and the management of those assets. And the next one is for elements of financial elements and management. That is the 4 elements of the financial management can be described with the 4 steps of the control process. And those processes will be the planning, controlling, organizing, and decision making. And the planning is nothing but to identify the steps that must be taken to accomplish an organization objectivity. So you have to take the step that should be taken by accomplishing the business objectivity. And the controlling, that is for make sure for each data and organization is following the plans that they have been established, and organizing the directing, and it's nothing but it's a design how the user organizational resources to most effectively carry out the establishment plan. And the final one is decision making, and take the decision making among the available alternatively, and what is the plan A and plan B, thing will be taken care by the decision making elements in the financial management system. And the decision making choices will be different based on that elements of the financial management, and it will be how the planning will be happening, and the controlling process, what are the factors that we are controlling that financial management, and how the organizing by the way of directing. So for all the factors they will look into it, and then only they can able to make the decision making in the choice of A and B and C. So if for every decision making have the choices, and it's not for fit for all, and it should be flexible to all. And if you're taking any decision making in terms of financial management, that should be in both of the organization. And if any cut down, anything happen, any incident happen in terms of that, then in order to alternate, we have to take the decision making as a choice as one. And the next one is for the quality management. And as quality management is nothing but it's in software development and maintenance and implementation of that one. And when you acquisition of hardware or software, and day-to-day operation and service management and security, human resource management, and general administration. So the way of all the activities should be handled by in the terms of the quality way. So that is what I mentioned for the quality management. So the quality management will be distinct for the document control thing, and issue resolution, auditing and finding, integration, staff complaints and development, and incident report management, specialization modules. So these are the factors, 7 factors that will be handling for the quality management thing, and will be in the form of quality thing to in order to achieve for all the scenarios. And in this quality management, and we have the representation of the structure in terms of ISO, that is for 9001 2015, it's a standard in the PDCA cycle, and which is for that is 4 kind of quality management system. That is for plan, do, check, and act. So these are the things in terms of quality management thing, and we have the each step for here, and it will be explained for all the thing that is for there is organization, and then its context, and the leadership quality, quality management system, and need of the expense of the relevant interest parties, and how the planning will be happening, and what are the support and operation when you are doing for the quality management process, and what is the performance evaluation when you are doing it, and the performance evaluation will check the improvement of the thing, and how the things will be happening. So based on that, they will act for the quality management services in terms of product and services, and the result of the QMS and should be in customer satisfaction. So that is what here mentioning in terms of ISO 9001 2015 standards. And the quality management, and I have the storage Japan, that is for 250 pieces, and that is a different one. And it's for customer focus and should be a leadership one, and the engagement of people, and the way of the process approach if it's required, and the way of improvement if the process approach is required, they have to implement the implementations, and the evidence-based decision making. So in order to quality management, you cannot able to take the decision making without any evidences or report or monitoring purposes. You have to take for all the everything, all the decision making in terms of the evidence-based one, and that decision management, the customer focus, what the customers are focusing, everything other will be in the quality management principles. And the next one is for risk management process. And before going to risk management process, and in this presentation, there is information security management topic is not covered. I'm just go through for the topics for the information security management policies and everything and all. I'm trying to add those in that slide when we share with the Vishnu Priya ma'am, and so I'll just covering for that one. That information security management principle. It consists of the integrity, that is CAE, confidentiality, integrity, availability thing, and they will require for the performance optimization, and they have the auditing for IT governance structure and implementation, which will indicates for the potential problem includes unfavorable and end user attitudes and excessive cost and budget overruns, late projects. So it will come to founder for the auditing IT governance thing, and when you have the auditing governance thing, and you have the process for reviewing the contractual commitment, and you have to contact for the attendance and maintenance complaints and selection procedure. You have to contractual commitments, and we have some roles and responsibilities for the information security management, that is for senior management level, and the information system security professionals and data owners and users, and the roles they have, the users and the information system auditors. These are the roles and responsibilities in terms of information management system, and the senior management will be execute for the senior level of management activities, which is assigned by the overall responsibility in terms of security of information, and the information systems security professional will carry for the system security professionals, and they are delegated to the responsibility of the implementing and maintaining the security in that senior level of management. And the data owners, that is they are discussed for the section title of the information classification, that is we have discussed the information classification rules, and the data owner has a primary responsibility for determining for the data sensitivity and the classification of level, and user, that is previously discussed in the section that is for information classification rules, and that is responsible for the following the procedures out of the organization security. So these are the three topics only, that is roles and responsibility of that IT governance structure and implementation, and performance optimization, and information security management principles. And I will try to add those things in the PPT when we share with the Vishnu Priya. And the next one is for the risk management. And in this paper, we are talking about the governance, risk, and compliances. So in previous session, we all talk about the governance things, and this is the one we are going to work with for the risk management thing. And in this risk management process, and we are going to see for the how we are going to developing various processes in the terms of risk management. We have the steps here, that is for you have to identify the potential risk, that is for the step one, identify the risk, and the next one is for the measure the risk, that is measure the frequency and severity of the risk. So you have to measure the risk in terms of frequency and severity, how many times it was happened and what is the severity, how many customers are affected. So everything will be unlikely. You have to make sure for the measure in terms of measurement, and examine the solution. So we have to examine the solution and alternative solution. What is the alternate solution in order to examine, and what is the perfect solution for that? And everything we have to change it and implement solution. So what solution we have found it, and now we are going to implement it. That is, decide which solution to use and implement it. So when you are going to implement the solution, and which should be, and which solution to use, 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 and which adaptable one, and which is compatible one, and which is one usable one now. And if we are using those solution, it won't be an impact for any other things. So in order to, it will reduce the risk of the organization, in terms of risk management process and the monitoring and research. So once the implementation was the solution implementation was in the place, and we have to monitor, and we have to provide the results to the top level management. After that, changes will happen, and we don't have any abnormalities, and we are in the minimum risk level of the process, and we are in that right path after that implementation solution. So that will be in terms of that. And then the essential, the risk management in they have the company the three steps. One is for the and the way of the risk evaluation, and what is the emission exposure of the risk control, and the risk monitoring. So these kind of things will be explained the next slides. Is identify potential risk, and measuring the frequency and severity, and examine the alternative solutions, and decide which solution should be used in the implemented. So that is what monitoring results. So these are the risk management process, and the essential combination of three steps is for risk evaluation, emission exposure control, and risk monitoring. So in this risk management, that is for we have 7 steps in order to achieve for the risk management activities. Actually, it is a cycle for that, and cycle will be here. That is for establish the content and the identification, assessment, potential risk treatment, create the plan and implementation, and review and evaluation of the plan. So these are the 7 steps in the risk management. And establish the content is nothing but establishing the content, which includes for the planning of the remainder of the process, and mapping out the scope of the exercises, and identifying the objective of the stakeholders, the basic upon which risk will be evaluated, and defining with the framework of the process in the terms of establishing the content. And the identification is for risk identification, which is required for the knowledge of the organization, that that the market is in which operates, the legal, social, economic, and political and climatic, which is does not business, and financial strength and weakness. So everything will be identified in terms of identification, and any failure in the stage to identify the risk may cause the major loss of the organization. And risk identification provides the foundation of the risk management thing. And it is identification methods are formed by the templates or by the development of the template, providing whether source, problem, or event, everything will be in the terms of identification. Assessment is kind of
What is the difference, sir, between the previous one that you discussed about the process of risk management and this one, 7 steps for risk management?
so the 7 steps of risk management and process risk management, the thing is similar, but the way of examining the first level of we are doing for identify the potential risk. That is what we were mentioning for the establishing the content of the thing, and measure the frequency of severity. And the frequency of severity, they are identifying for the factors, and what are the things will be happen, and what is the severity, and how many times it was happened. So it's all a similar thing, but the way of content, that is a different, the process is different and the steps is different, right? The risk management process, so the risk management process, how the risk management will be processing it, and what are the steps to identify the risk management. So that is the difference for here.
Okay, sir.
In process, they are mapping for all the activities within the 5 steps, but in the risk management, they have elaborated for the steps thing. And the review evaluation, the plan is a different one, and the monitor and results will be in the different one. So they are elaborating for all the steps. That's all. So if you are talking about the risk management process and steps, everything is same only. In order to elaboration for the steps, they are making the 7 steps. In order to process, they are aligning with the process. That's it. And the potential risk treatment, that is for the third one, that is for once the risk has been identified and accessed, and the techniques to manage the risk fall into one or more these four major categories. And this is also for a notable one. And the potential risk treatments will the potential risk treatment will carry for the four um major categories, that is for risk transfer, risk avoidance, risk retention, and risk control. And risk transfer means the expected party will transfer the whole or part of the losses consequent in terms of risk. And risk avoidance, it is for circumstance which may lead to the loss of another way, which includes for not performing any activity that could carry a risk. So we are avoiding those risks by the way of answer to all risk, but avoiding the risk to mean of losing out of the potential gain and accepting the risk may have allowed. So which is nothing but the not entering the business to avoid a risk. So similarly, we are avoiding the risk if it isn't potentially we have it. And the risk retention, which is implies that the loss of arising due to the risk exposure shall be retained or assumed by the party or the organization. Risk retention is generally a deliberate decision for the business organization. So sometimes the risk will be retained, and we have some time in the organization level. So these are the potential risk treatments. We have to carry out that, and we have to control the final stage. We have to control for those risk activities by controlling by the way of avoiding implications to either the certain loss of exposure had not occurred for the existing one to about them, the loss of control. So everything will be in terms of risk control, and then create a plan. So it's designed for the combination of method to use for each risk, and each risk management decision should be recorded and approved by the appropriate level of management. And by the way of uh, it isn't for image of the organization should be have a top management decision behind it, whereas whenever the decision will be taken care of the management, there would be an authority for the decision to compute virus risk. So if you are any decide to compute a virus risk management plan should propose applicable and effective security control to managing the risk. So if you are facing any virus activities, any other breaches, and how they are going to handle it, everything will be in the create the plans activities. Then implementation, that is obviously what we have created in the plan section that we are going to implement in terms of solution. Final one is for review and evaluation of the plan, and that should be evaluated as the previously selected and security controls and still applicable and effective. And and the evaluate of the possible risk level and changes in the business environment, and the information risk are good example, and the rapidly changing the business environment. So these are the 7 steps we'll be explaining in the PPT: risk assessment, potential risk treatment, risk transfer. In the potential risk treatment, we have four parts, right? Risk transfer and risk avoidance and risk retention and risk control. These are the four potential risk treatments. Create the plan and implementation. And final one is a review evaluation of the plan. Any doubt about the way of developing the risk management and the steps involved in the risk management? And the steps involved in risk management will differ with the developing the risk management, because the steps which we are given for the developing the risk management, and this 7 steps for the risk management will be it's a mathematical evaluation of the risk. So what kind of risk and so live risk, everything will be based on the severity. We are making those 7 steps in terms of risk management. So that is a key difference for that one. Any question, guys? Okay, the next one is for risk analysis method, and if any risk was happened, and now we are going to analyze by the way of method which we have it. And in this terms, we have for the qualitative method and quantitative method and semi-quantitative method. That is three kind of models we have it. That is models and methods we have it. And in terms of qualitative, the way of the risk how we are going to analyzing, and the quantitative, the thing is it's impact by the number of the mathematical number will be playing for that quantitative method. And semi-quantitative, it depends on the priority based one thing, and that is also we are going to see for this one. And this kind of risk analysis method, which will help us to use for the decision making in the business project entrepreneurs, and base themselves on their judgment, experience, and intuition of the decision making thing. And this method can be used where when the level of risk is low and does not warrant the time and resources necessary for making a full analysis. So based on the priority, the risk will be handled by the way of qualitative method. The qualitative method, which includes all the brainstorming and question-based and structural interviews, the evaluation of multidisciplinary groups, judgment of the specialized and expert. That is well the way of quality they're expecting it in terms of the risk analysis. And the quantitative method, it is for the way of numbers. There is mathematical prediction. That is quantitative method, the occurrence of the various risk identified, and that is calculated the level of risk of the project. That is for analysis of the likelihood, analysis of the consequences, and computer simulation. It is purely based on the quantity, not in that qualitative. It's in quantitative. That is number of occurrence based of level of method thing which is used in the here. And the development of this measurement can be affected by the means of different mechanism, among which we note particularly the Monte Carlo method, which is characterized by the a board of vision in order to show the range of people scenarios, simplicity in putting into the practice, suitable for performing computer simulations. And that is what the Monte Carlo method. And this is a quantitative method for the development of risk analysis. And this method was given to the name of reference to the Principality of the Monaco, which is famous for the capital of the games of change. And this method seeks to represent the reality through the mathematical risk model, and by the way of assigning the values randomly to the variables to the models, different scenarios and results are obtained. So it's purely on the mathematical based of thing, and that is the reason they are mentioned for the capital of the games of change. The values will be identified in terms of variables, and the different scenarios they are kept in that, and finally they will get the obtain the results by the way of Monte Carlo method. So in this Monte Carlo method is it's making the sufficiently for a high number of iteration. There is assignment of values and random fashions. So the sample of the results obtained is sufficiently broad to be considered a representative of the real situation. And this iteration can be made by the using a data processing engine, search engine, like we have the data processing engine. By the way of iteration, they are doing for the Monte Carlo method. And with respect to that, the risk of the project, and we have to find out for mean, maximum, and minimum values, and the standard deviation, variances, and likelihood occurrences, and different variables determined on which to measure the risk. So will be carried out in terms of the Monte Carlo method for risk analysis method. And the final next one is for semi-quantitative method, and which is classified used for the high, medium, and low categories, and it is detailed description of the likelihood consequences. And this classification is shown in the relation to the appropriate scale of calculating the level of the risk. We need to give careful attention of the scale used for in order to avoid the misunderstanding or misinterpretation of the results of the calculation. So the semi-quantitative method is based on the priority side, high, medium, and low of thing. Okay. Okay, this is for a risk analysis method, and the next one is for risk management framework, which is not in that PPT slide. I'm just go through from that document which I have it. So in this risk management framework, I try to I guess I will try to add those risk management framework in the PPT when sharing with the Vishnu Priyam. That is, I have to add the two things. One is for risk management framework, another one is for the information security guidelines that I have to add it. And when we are getting those documentation, I will add them in the visualization again. So in this thing, and they have talking about for the enterprise risk management and what are the components of risk management we have it, that is in the way of effectiveness and limitations, and risk management generic process, and the risk assessment, risk management policy, risk responses, and risk reporting, and reducible risk reporting, organizational report, use of this report. So everything will be describing here, and I'm just taking the overview and will explaining the main concept only here because we don't have a slides here. But so the components of the enterprise risk management, we have the variety of components that is for internal environment and objective setting and event identification, risk assessment, risk response, control activities, information and communication, and monitoring. So the first one is for internal environment, which is really handling for the internal environment encompasses for the organization with how the risk was viewed and addressed by the entity of the people who's involving the management philosophy with the risk with the risk integrity and the ethical values. This will be carrying for the internal environment and objective of the settings, and that must be in the before management can identify the potential events affecting their achievements, enterprise risk management, insurance that manage the enterprise process for the objectivity. And event identification is nothing but when the external events affecting the achievements of an entity objective must be identified and distinguish between the risk and opportunity. And the opportunity can back to the management strategy or objective settings process. And risk assessment, it's analyzing the risk process and so considering for the likelihood impact as for the base of the determining how it should be managed and the risk or access inherit and residual data or not. So we'll be carried for the risk assessment process, and the risk responses will select for the risk responses by the way of avoiding, accepting, and reducing and sharing the risk. So while doing the risk responses, I have to avoiding those risk thing, and you have to accept those risks and reducing the risk by the way of sharing that risk to some other functionality, and you have to develop those risk in order to reducing it by the way of responses. And control activities, which is for control activities a policy, which is have the procedures that is establishment of implementation to help ensure the risk responses and effectively carried out. It is a policy based thing, and it should be in documentation one. It should be effective way of handling the risk responses. And information and communication, which is for identified and captured for all the communication in terms of a time frame. So everything will be noted and following down across the across the entity will be informed and communicated with all the delays in the thing. And monitoring, that is an entity for the risk monitored, and the modification and necessary monitoring will be happened, and the ongoing management activities and the evaluation will be taking place in terms of the monitoring activities. So this is the elements, the basic elements in terms of enterprise risk management level. Okay. And then next one is for the risk mitigation, and risk mitigation. It's a planning. It's a planning for process for developing option and action. That is for to mitigate the risk in terms of to involves for development of activation, and it's to mitigate the plan and design to manage and eliminate and reduce the risk of that assessment, and in terms of mitigating the risk in the organization level, and it's for course of action and if it is needed, and the risk mitigation will be carried out in terms of identify the risk and the risk events and the relationship and deny, and first of all we have to identify the risk, that is the risk identification, and risk impact assessment, and the risk prioritization analysis, and the risk mitigation, which will be carrying for the planning, implementation, progress monitoring. And this is the process of the risk mitigation. In this risk mitigation, we have the strategies which will be handling for in this process, which is for accept, avoid, control, and transfer, and monitor. So these are the 5 things the risk mitigation strategies handling here. And accept, we have to acknowledge the existence of the particular risk and make sure the deliberate the decision to accept it. And avoid is to eliminate or reduce the risk to the adjustment of to be accompanied by the change in funding and the scheduling or the technical requirement. And control, control is nothing but the implement actions to minimize the impact or likelihood of the risk. Transfer, reassign, or else for organizational accountability or responsibility and authority to another stakeholders willing to accept the risk. So this is called for transfer. And watch or else monitor the environment to change the affect the nature and what the impact of the risk. So these are the risk mitigation strategies which is handling in the risk management perspective. So that's all about for unit 4. Unit 4 will be in terms of that there is personal management, financial management, and quality management, and the information security management, which is not in the slide, but I'm trying to add that one as much as possible. And later we are discuss about for the risk management process and how the risk management process will be using in terms of developing the risk management program, and how the risk analysis which are method we are using in terms of qualitative, quantitative, and semi-quantitative, and for the parliamentary activities, and the risk management frameworks. What we have, it's everything we have uh, uh, discussed it, and the risk responses we have check in terms of that risk assessment, and for the risk mitigation activities, how we are going to handle risk mitigation, and the mitigation strategies what they are using in terms of accept, avoid, uh, and accept to avoid and monitor. And so these kind of things we have discussed it. And um, next ones we are going to see for best practices of IT governance, which is for unit 2. After that, we are winding up the session now. Any doubt on that unit 4, guys? Okay. The unit 2 we are just going to cover for best practice of IT governances, and which is for ITIL, and that is by Information Technology Infrastructure Library, and ISO IEC 27001, and COPIT, Control Objective of Information and Related Technologies, and the Information Security Management, that is Maturity Model, Capability Maturity Model, that is CMMI, and another latest standards and compliance technology that we are going to see now. And we'll discuss by one. And ITIL, and it is for um, Information Technology Infrastructure Library, and which is for IT organization management level of certification. That is for the aim should be ensure the strategic security consideration or taken various operational levels. That is information security, and it's broken down the policies, processes, and procedures, and work instructions. And in the service life cycle modules, and we have seen for service operations, service strategy. First of all, the service strategy, then service design, and then service transition and service operation. These are the four categories, that life cycle models in that ITIL process. And the last one is for the continual process improvement. That is for it will be differ for in terms of V3 and V4. We have the V3 and V4 for ITIL, and V3 is for the base level of the continuous improvement model, and we are going with the V4. It is for DevOps level of thing in the service level, service life cycle model in terms of ITIL. And ITIL is it's a compilation of best practices for IT organization management, and the main aim behind that ITIL is for ensuring that the strategy security consideration are taken various operational level, and the information security is viewed as a cycle one, which is need to be controlled, planned, designed, and tested, maintained. According to the ITIL, and the information security is broken down into the policies, processes, procedures, and works instruction. And it is a guideline tool which is for organization are able to develop and implement a clear security structure based on the best practices. One of the requirement is continuous review, and this ensure that the organization evaluate the effectiveness of a structure measures, and security structure is well organized, and therefore they prevent disorganized implementation and rushed decisions. So in order to study for from note, I will just explain the ITIL process. Okay. In this session, how many people are certified by ITIL? Any persons are certified by ITIL? Anyone working in the release management activities, or else service management, or else incident management? Anyone working in that field? No voice. Okay.
No, sir.
Okay, fine. It is for in this. It will be applicable for all the product and service line company, and the service strategy will be defining the way of that is a phase of the life cycle, and provides guidelines how to design that and develop the implement activities. That is the main focus of the process is for the management of IT services, and the portfolio management, and the financial management of IT services, demand management, and business relationship management. So these are the processes in the service strategy, and the roles will be differ for each process. And the role will be differ for each process. That is for the management level of thing will be service strategy manager, IT steering group, and the financial manager will be carrying for the financial management activities. So based on the process, the role will be defined in the terms of service strategy, and the service by design, and it is for designing the way the who's going to design the coordination process, the service catalog management, service level of management, risk management, capacity management. So it is for the way of designing the services in the product level of company, how their design process will be happening, and then how the design services plan will be prepared by the IT professionals and business leaders, and how the customers concerned in the most prominent manner, and how we are going to align those roles with respect to the process, everything and all. And the process, the services operation, it is nothing but is for in this kind of activities will be carried for the incidents, request fulfillment and access management, problem management, IT operation control, facilities management, technical management, event management. So these kind of activities comes under for the service operation, and the roles will be in the service operation will be for incident team and incident manager, access manager, IT operation manager, facility manager, and technical analyst. So these are the roles we are handling for the service operation. And the service transition is nothing but will be transferring the product to the live environment and will be carrying for the life cycle manner. The IT professional and the business associated to manage the change of products productive manner. This is what service transition and the continuous service improvement. And if anything, getting any bug or fixes that will be carried out in terms of continuous service improvement, that will be in the service review, process evaluation, definition of CSA initiative, and monitoring of CSA initiative. The role will be the process owner and process architect and CSA managers. So these are the service life cycle models in terms of ITL process. So that is what I explained the framework side. So this will be explaining for all the PPTs what is maybe service strategy and what are the process and roles that we have it, and service design, how the design and develop services and IT service management process, and how we'll be supporting service strategies, how to design services plan, and how the preparation will be handled by the IT professionals and business leaders to address the customer concerns by the terms of design services and the operation in the life cycle, the way of the guidance to practical aspects of the day-to-day business operations. And the goal began the IT department to keep things running smoothly, reliability, efficiency, cost effectively, and the services to be delivered to the customers at the agreed upon level of minimal interruptions and disruptions that will be carried by the service operations. And this is the process and roles are here. And transition will be guidance on the how to effectively and efficiently transition the new and change the services into operations level of thing. And it will be the professional will be the business associate to manage the changes. Change management. In terms of change management, I just explained the process, and if any change if required in terms of process, and it will to come to the they will follow the ITL process in terms of change evaluation, project management, that is transaction planning support, and the release and deployment management, service validation. So it is for the step-by-step process and assessment of the change proposal, RFC logging and review. And it will be everything will be carried on the tool system and the change assessed by the change manager. And it is liable to the one and it is acceptable one. And if any drawbacks are there and the minor changes of the deployment, so everything will be monitored and applied in the change management. And it is for changing the existing one in order to terms of the requirement by the customer or client will be carrying by the change management team will be deployed in the live environment will be this is the process for that change management activities. And after the changes happen in the live environment, and we have to post implement for the activities and review the change process, and we have to monitor for it. So continuous service improvement. So once that was implemented in terms of service transition, the service implementation in terms of continuous activities, there is always a room for development and improvement in terms of research services, and it's for a key understanding where improvement can be made, and it can help for learners identify where these possibilities for progress are. And Six Sigma, the Lean Sigma are the best thing in terms of certification to learn the process improvement activities, and it will be in the quality side of thing, and for the Six Sigma thing and all. And next one is for ISO IEC 270012005, and this is for ISO is a family of standard of the provides organization with the general framework for information security policies, and ISO IEC 27001 2005 is for purely information security policies, which will be identified by the uh, every organization that wishes to secure information assets such as financial reports, employee information, intellectual property, and customer details. And ISO 27003 is a series consisting of the four standard documentations. The first document contains for the requirement of an information security management system. Then second one is for the series and contains the list of code of practices that ensure the security. And the third one is for it's a family of 27003 and 2010, which is designed to provide a guidance during the implementation of stage. And the fourth one is for 27004 and 2009 that encompasses the analysis of measurement required for the information security system. And these are the four things will be in the ISO IEC 27001. And we have that we have standard considers various types of organization and industries encompassing the size of and markets. Therefore, the wide and generic document, it is adaptation and implementation of the strategic decisions. And the ISML process are based on the following model, that is for okay. For this ISMS process, it will be follow for the process of PDCA, that is Plan, Do, Check, Act. So establish the ISM in terms of um, uh, for every organization will be implement the ISMS in terms of people be aware of that standards, information security thing, everything and all. And they will establish an IMS and implement and operate the IMS that we have to do it and monitor for and review for IMS in terms of check and maintain and improve the ISMS in terms of acting to improvement of the ISM process in terms of ISO IEC 27001 thing. Mm, Okay. In the security area of ISO 27002 and 2005 is for practice for the information security management, and it is catalog for the control of the security policy, organizing information security, asset management, human resource security, physical environment security, and for access control. So everything will be in place of ISM standards, and it's for security area for ISO IEC 27001, and the standard compromises for the 11 security areas that remain controls objective and 133 controls. So this is what we have here for that ISO IEC 27001, 002, which will be carried for that ISM standards. And the advantages for the certification of ISMS brings several advantages, and which is provide for a structured way of managing information security and within the organization, provide an independent assessment of organization conformity of the best practices agreed by the community of the experts of ISMS, and provide evidence and assurance that an organization has complied with the standards and requirement. And that certification will bring to several advantages if you are doing 5 certification, which will enhance the information security governance within the organization, and it also enhance the organization's global positioning and reputations, and it will increase the level of information security of the organization. So for who's working on the organization, all should be taken for ISMS test for every year. So must be aware of the data privacy, risk management activities, and code of conduct, and data privacy, and all kind of activities will be. You must be aware of that, and you have to take the test, and you have to get certification. Based on certification, the company will be get the reputation of the global positioning by way of conducting examination in terms of ISMS. And the next one is for COPIT, and COPIT is for it is for it's kind of best practices in terms of control objectives of information and related technologies, and it is for the framework, and it is created by ISCA, that is Information System Audit and Control Association for the IT governance and management, and it was designed to support it for the two for managers and allowing readings for the crucial gap between the technical issues and business risk and the control requirements. And COVID is a thoroughly recognized in guideline that can be applied to any organization in any industry. And this the main focus of the COVID will illustrate with this process based on the model, and it's subdivided into four specific domains, which is for planning and organization, that is for PO, and acquiring and implementation AI, and delivering and support DS, and monitoring and evaluating. So this will be the process in terms of uh, specific domain included, which is process illustrated in the model of that COVID. And all for this further understand the 34 process as per the specific line of responsibilities. And the COVID has a high position in the business framework and has been recognized under the various international standards like ITAL, CMMI, COSO, PRINCE2, talk of PMBOK. So these are the standards, best practices which we are using for now the organizations, and COVID acts as a guidelines, integrated merging for all solutions under the one umbrella. In this COVID, we have the various components, and the various components of the COVID we have it. That is a framework, process descriptions, and control objective, maturity model, and management guidelines. And based on those COVID only, we have to think for the maturity model in the later session. And the framework which will be helps to organizing the objective of the IT governance, and bringing in the best practices in terms of IT process, and which is linking for the business requirement. And process description, it refers to the model and also act as for common languages for every individuals, and is for planning, building, running, and monitoring for all the IT processes. And control objective is nothing but is for complete list of requirements that have been considered by the management for effective IT business control. And the maturity model is kind of model and which will be access the maturity and the capability of every process while addressing the gaps. Management guidelines, so better accessing the responsibilities, measuring the performance, agreeing the common objectives, and illustrating better interrelationship with every other process in terms of management guidelines. They're working for various components in COVID. And if you have the principles of the COVID, and then in this principle, they have the 5 principle on it, and each principle have that each unique process. And the first one is for meeting stakeholders' need, and what the stakeholders needed in terms of governance thing that should be meet by the organization, and covering the enterprise end to end. So they need to cover for end to end perspective, the enterprise level of perspective of the business, and applying a single integrated framework. So that should be in a single manner, and it could not be. It could not be aligned with some other technologies, and it should be a single framework thing, and enabling a holistic approach. So it is should be a holistic approach that should be enabled in the COVID format. And then once it is, all the things will be identified, and then we have to separate in the governance from the management. So once everything will be defined and in the procedures and policies, and then we have to separate the governance from the management team, and then they will get the clear picture of the principle. So that is what we explaining it. Third principle, applying the single integrated framework, and the framework contains for various enterprise framework and standards. And the fourth one is for is a holistic approach and support for governance and management enterprise ID. And fifth one is for differentiating between the governance and management roles, activities, and responsibilities will be in terms of COVID principles. And the framework will also identify the 7 aspects of the governance that need to be placed in order to support for the 5 principles. In order to follow the 5 principles, we have to enable it for the next 7 principles, policies, frameworks here in terms of COVID-5 enterprises enablers, and that is process, organization structures, culture, ethics and behavior, and information, service, infrastructure, applications, people, skill, and competence. These are the 7 enablers in order to achieve those COVID-5 principles. And COVID goes cascade step, that is for stakeholder drivers, and that is for environment, technology evaluation, and stakeholders needs, and enterprise goals, IT related goals, and enabler goals. And the step 1 is for so identify the influence of the key stakeholder driven in the stakeholders need. And next one is for stakeholders need to be cascaded to the enterprise level of goals, and then enterprise level goal cascaded into the IT related goals, and the IT related goal cascaded into the enabler goals. So these are the hope it goes cascaded steps in terms of hope it. And next one is for so that's what I explained in step-by-step thing in here. And the next one is for information security management model. And this kind of model is for a security thing, which is the result of the process. The better the security process, the protection of achieved from the various resources available. And security in the context, it's an incident. It's defined as a failure to meet the organization's security objectives. And ISMS does not consider any single set of security measures or security management process as a compulsory or usual for all organization. And it must so in this ISMS does not consider any single set of security measures. It won't cut, it will provide the guidelines to the it will provide the guidelines and measurement to the security in terms of management and people who have to educate for all the activities. To manage something means to define and achieve goals while optimizing the use of resources. Management activities normally include a requirement to plan, direct, control, and coordinate. There are three levels of security management. One is for strategic, one is for tactical, and one is for operational. And strategy is nothing but that broad goals and provision of resources, and tactical is a specific goals and management resources. Operational, which is achieving the defined goal. So these are the three levels of security management. And next one is for maturity model, and the maturity model will have that we a set of structural level of that describe how well the behaviors, practices, and process of the organization can reliably sustain the required outcomes. And maturity model can be used as a benchmark for comparison and then aid to the understanding. For example, the comparative the comparative assessment of the different organization, whereas there is something in the common that can be used for as a basic of the compensation. In this case of CMM model, the 5 aspects that is for maturity level and the 5 level process maturity continuum, where the uppermost, that is the 5th level, is a notational idea state, whereas the process would be systematically managed by the combination of the process optimization and continuous improvement. So these are the 5 level of process, and the key process area that is identify the cluster of related activities that when performed together achieve a set of goals considered important. And goals, the goal of that will be have been accomplished is the indicator of how much capability or an organization is establishing the maturity level, and the significance of the scope, boundaries, and intent to the each key process areas. And finally, is the common features. The common features which includes for the practices and implement the institutionalized and key process area. There are 5 types of common features. That is for commitment to perform and ability to perform and activities performed, measurement and analysis, verifying the implementation. So commitment to perform, that means that they have to the way of performance will be committed, and the ability to perform in sense the way they are perform in terms of ability side, and the activities performed. So what are the activities defined in the common feature set? They have to perform it. And measurement analysis by terms of measuring the activities, measuring that report, and measuring the company growth, everything about to analyze, and verifying the implementation. The final stage will be verifying it. We have to implement for those common features in the maturity model. And the key practices for those things is for the elements of infrastructure and that contribute most effectively to the implementation and institutionalization of the area. And the last one is for capability maturity model. This is an maturity model, how they're going to improve the process model theoretically, continuing along with the process, which can be developed incrementally from one level to another next level, from one level to another next level. That is will be improvement assets to be. And this is the level of the CMMI level. Capability maturity model, which is for we have the 5 levels that we have usually we have mentioned that we have the 5th level, that is for optimal a level of CMM. And the first one is for the initial, second one is for managed, third one is for define, fourth one is for quantitatively managed, and fifth one is for optimizing. And each one is having each process that the initial level, the process unpredictable, poorly controlled, and reactive. And the level two is for managed, that is a process characterized by projects and is often reactive. And define the process characterized of the organization and it's a proactive manner they are defined it. And quantitatively managed, that is the process measured and controlled. Optimizing, that is focus on the process improvement. And this is the key thing for the pulpit in terms of level of 5. That's what you have mentioned for the one is initial level of thing, and that should be in the undocumented and its state of dynamic change and tending to driven in then ad hoc and uncontrolled and reactive manner by users to relevant. And the manage two, that is level two is managed one, and that is a repeatable one. Then process discipline is unlikely to be reduced, and but where is the exist may be help to the ensure that the existing process and maintain the during time of stress. Third one is for define, it's documented standard process which is established by the organization, subject to some degree of improvement over time and may not have the systematically or repeatedly used. And fourth one is for quantitatively managed, and we have described for capable of thing, and we have discussed for already quantitatively and qualitatively. And qualitatively, which is means by the terms of numbers and mathematical orders. So the quantitatively managed by the it is capable of the using the process metrics and effective achievements of the process. That objective can be evidented across the range of operational conditions. And the sustainability of the process, which is the multiple environmental, has been tested and the process redefined and adapted in terms of quantitative management. And fifth one is for optimizing. Optimizing is nothing but it's an efficient one. It is for characteristics for the process at this level of that the focus is continuously improving process performance through the both incremental and innovative technological changes by the way of improvement, and that would be done at the same time and maintaining the likelihood of the achieving the establishment quantitative process improvement objective. And the maturity level 5, that poses for a concern with the addressing statistical common cause of process variation and changing the process to improve the process implementations. And this is the overall capability maturity model level 5. And that's all about unit 2, guys. And do you have any concern it? I'm just stopping my screening. I'm just stopped my screen, and time is 5:10. Will be available for next 20 minutes. And if you have any concern, any questions, please feel free to reach me, and we'll wind up the session. Yes, we have remaining. We have the 15 minute, that is complaints. We are still pending, and will be completed by the next sessions. Any question, guys?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. We'll wait for 5:15 till 5:15. If you don't have any question, we'll wind up the session. Okay, guys, thank you for the session, and we'll catch up for the next session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.